Welcome into Giants Postgame Live presented by Moderna. My name is Madelyn Burke alongside the Super Bowl champion Shaun, the Super Bowl champion Victor Cruz. The Giants open their season Week 1 Sunday Night Football right here at MetLife Stadium against the Dallas Cowboys, and a tough loss for the Giants. It was 40-0. Victor, this is not the way the Giants wanted to start their season.
Yeah, not at all. A tough one just out the gate. It was just a rough start. Obviously, driving the ball down the field, having the energy. I know me and Shaun were watching the game and being like, okay, this is the offense that we wanted. This is the offense that we wanted to see, driving the ball downfield and just get a tough break with the field goal block return. That's just a tough way to start the game. Then you get a couple more turnovers in the first quarter. It was just a tough break. And then you think at some point, right, you're just like, they're going to turn this around. They're going to get a drive together, put one together, put some points on the board. And I think that moment just never happened for them.
Yeah, this is so frustrating. I think for Giants fans right now, if you're still here watching this show right now, if you're still in the stadium, nobody thought this was going to happen tonight. There was so much energy, so much positive movement from last season, going into training camp. The preseason, they looked great. Darren Waller looked great. Daniel Jones. And tonight was supposed to be an opportunity for the Giants to say, look, we have arrived. We are here. We can compete with the best of the best. We can compete with Dallas. We can compete with Philly. And that just didn't happen. I mean, this was a complete and total disaster. I think Freddy Krueger would say this was a nightmare. Nothing went right for the Giants. The ball bounced clearly in the opposite direction. You mentioned the blocked field goal for a touchdown. When's the last time you saw a blocked field goal go for 60 the other way? Usually it goes out of bounds, goes sideways.
Especially when you got a reliable kicker like Graham Gano.
Oh, Graham Gano. I mean, the guy jumps through the C gap. It's not Gano's fault.
Right.
It was perfect execution by their point. But then the Saquon Barkley, he gets hit right after he catches the ball, pops right up, bounces, goes the other way.
So another person's arm.
Tonight was, I don't think I've seen a game unravel like it did tonight for the Giants. Nothing went right. It was raining. It was sloppy. Giants fans were here. They were decked out in blue. They were ready to rock. And this is just really unfortunate the way that it all played out.
Well,
Dallas didn't even, I mean, it's not like they just blew the doors off of the defense and put up 40 points on their own. You can't gift teams that many points. The Giants aren't built to do that and come from behind.
Right.
And this game just got out of hand too quick.
Well, and it got out of hand, but you both mentioned just the way it started, right? A lot of optimism coming into this game, a lot of optimism on this opening drive for the Giants as we take a look at some highlights from tonight's game. You know, this game started off strong. Daniel Jones getting it going with Danny Wheels out here, you know, using the run game to their advantage.
Got the personal foul on that one, too.
Yep, and Saquon Barkley getting it going in the run game as well. Things looking good to start, right? And the Giants running down the field, getting into the red zone. But then they get into the red zone, a false start by Andrew Thomas, followed by this fumbled snap right here.
That was 3rd and 2, went to 3rd and 7.
You're ended up on 4th and 20. Graham Gano attempts a 45-yard field goal, which is blocked. And as you can see right here, Noah Igbegani runs it back for the touchdown. And now Dallas is on the board.
And that's one of those things that just immediately deflates your entire team, right? But again, we have to practice resilience and be able to bounce back from things like this. It's not going to be the first turnover that happens all year long. It will not be the last. So it's got to figure out how to pick ourselves up from moments like that, keep our intensity, keep our focus level high, because when you don't, we see what happens today. It compounds, more turnovers, untimely turnovers, and some of them just weren't even our fault. I think Saquon catching that ball and the timing of him turning and them just hitting him right on the button, that's not his fault. He's catching the ball, trying to tuck it and make a play. Guy comes and hits him right where the ball is, pops right up into the defender's hands. I mean, the luck of some of these things were just incredible, but then that just compounds. You can see the team energy just deflate, and that's where it kind of went left.
Right.
Yeah, tough night for the Giants. I think you have to give credit to Dallas at some point, too. 2 years in a row now, they've led the league in takeaways.
Right.
So they're opportunistic when it counts. The block field goal was great execution on their part, and then the awareness to scoop and score. The interception, I mean, that was, perfectly timed play by them. I think for the Giants, the thing that, as much as those plays impacted it, to me, the most disappointing thing was that coming into this game, it was all about, can we protect Daniel Jones? Can we block? The last time that the Giants played the Cowboys, this guy was running for his life. And the first game of the season last year was week 3. DeMarcus Lawrence had 3 sacks. We could not block him. The second game later on in the season, we couldn't block Micah Parsons. Tonight, we couldn't block anybody. And Daniel Jones, this was the theme of the night, harassed in the pocket, did not feel comfortable. When did Daniel Jones ever had a chance to set in the pocket and scan the field, left to right, go through a progression? It just didn't happen. And I think the protection look, it wasn't just one guy. It was Mark Lewinsky getting beat one time by Micah Parsons. It was not passing off a twist. It was Andrew Thomas. There's a delay twist. So everybody had their hand in it, and that's the most frustrating part because you look at the Giants, what they did, drafting John Michael Schmitz. He's been stellar all throughout training camp and preseason. I haven't seen him with any snap issues, and then tonight he rolls one back to the quarterback. Those are rookie, mistakes and things that you have to go through with growing pains, but the protection is an absolute issue. And if the Giants want to compete in the NFC East, you've got to find a way to block.
And look, that Dallas defense, it wasn't like they shocked anyone. It wasn't like we didn't know who they were coming into this game. We knew Micah Parsons was who he was, a potential Defensive Player of the Year candidate. We knew that defensive line and those linebackers were talented and were going to be able to come pin their ears back and get after Daniel Jones, especially on those down and distances where they knew he was going to throw the football. And then especially even more so when we got behind in the numbers, right, when we're down and they know that we're going to throw the football down the field on first down, on second down. Micah Parsons cannot wait for those things. So it was up to our offensive line to anchor down, understand what they're being met with, and be able to understand that and be able to compound that with good play, understanding where Micah Parsons is at all times. And those were just things that we didn't do throughout the course of the game.
Right, Micah Parsons just 1 sack of the 7 sacks on the night right there. Daniel Jones running for his life. 4 of them came in the first half. It was a tough one, a rainy one, a tough loss for the Giants in week 1. We're just getting started, though, recapping this game. Guests of our post-game show receive a gift certificate to Ben and Jack's, located on 44th Street in Manhattan. From the celebrated porterhouse to finer seafood, Ben and Jack's will surpass your expectations of what a steakhouse should be. Stay with us here. Giants post-game live, brought to you by Moderna, continues as we hear from head coach Brian Daboll and more after the break. Show rolls on. Stay with us here on MSG Networks. Giants fans, make sure you're at MetLife Stadium for the next home game on October 2nd. The Giants will host the Seattle Seahawks for Monday Night Football. Limited individual tickets are available. Visit Giants.com/tickets to secure your seat today. Welcome back to Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Moderna. The Giants fell in their home opener 40-0 to the Dallas Cowboys, the biggest shutout loss in Giants home opener history. Let's send it down to Paul Dottino and Brandon London for more.
All right, a really tough night for the Giants. For only the 3rd time over the past 8 seasons, an opponent has scored at least 40 points against them, Brandon. And this is the first time the Giants have been shut out since Week 15 of the 2015 season, when they played the Tennessee Titans and got blanked 17-0. A Twilight Zone night. I'm almost expecting Rod Serling to tap me on the shoulder, Brandon, because nothing went right.
Yeah, I don't even know who Rod Serling is, Dots, but I'll take your word for it. Yeah, it's one of those nights where you kind of just want to throw it to bed. If you're this Giants team, you really have to watch the tape, if they do watch the tape at all, and just take away accountability moments that you can kind of use to detail your work going forward, because you have still a long season ahead of you.
Yeah, there have been many times over the past when I've seen a team have this kind of defeat and not even look at the tape the next day.
And that's not a bad thing. I know there are people out there that could be upset with that, because it's like, if you put something like that on tape, the guys need to see what happens. These guys are professional athletes. They know what they did wrong. So that's why I say you take a quick compilation of the plays that you know going forward are definitely going to get you beat and you need to clean up. And then you have the guys relax, take it easy, get back there at practice, get ready for Arizona.
All right, so after the blocked field goal for a touchdown and the fumble recovery for a touchdown, think about this. 16-0 Dallas, with only a couple of minutes left in the first quarter. And the defense had already been in a hole because the Cowboys had only had 9 snaps to that point in the game.
And again, it could be a learning moment. It could be a teaching moment, Paul, because there will be games where the defense will be, the team will be behind in points, and the defense has to make a stop or stops or create some sort of turnover. So you take what you can away from this game.
All right, then finally on special teams, Gano with only his 3rd miss from under 40 yards in 48 tries over his 3 years with the Giants. It was a very, very odd evening. Let's go back to you.
Thanks so much, Paul. And as Brandon said, a teaching moment indeed. Head coach Brian Daboll will have his hands full after this one. He's addressing the media now at the podium. Let's send it down.
Okay. Obviously a tough loss, a disappointing loss. Got beat all the way around from coaching to playing. I accept that. got a lot to learn from, a lot to work on, and that's what we'll do. No excuses. Give credit to Dallas. They just did everything better than we did tonight.
On the blocked field goal, I mean, you guys seem to be kind of humming on offense early on that first drive, and then some things went wrong. What did that series of events that ended that possession and the blocked field goal, what did that do for the rest of the night for you?
Well, you're gonna have play. You know, you hope you don't have plays like that. You're gonna have some bad ones throughout the game. You know that you give up 7 on special teams and you give up 7 on offense, and that's 14 points right there, and a field goal. They missed the extra point. It was 16 points early. Still competing, but just could never really string it together, Mark. Really in any area.
7 sacks, I think 12 quarterback hits. What was wrong with the protection?
Well, we got into one of those games as the game went on where we were throwing the ball and they knew we had to throw the ball. We're down a bunch. Have to look at the tape for some of the stuff. But obviously it wasn't good enough. No area was good enough tonight, from protection to coaching to running to tackling, whatever it may be, you name it, wasn't good enough.
Ryan, did you ever think of taking Daniel out because he took a pretty big beating?
Yeah, no. I was going to let him see it through there just until that last series. Try to get something positive going, Dan. We didn't have much going. Just wanted to try to get a positive drive and try to punch the ball into the end zone. But that didn't happen.
It seemed like kind of a rough night for your rookies tonight, their first timers. Did you? I mean, obviously without.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look at it, Mark. I'd have to go back and look at it.
What's your concern level with the offensive line at this point? Particularly the right side seemed to have a...
Yeah, I'd say there's we got a lot of work to do in every area, Jordan. Not just the offensive line, every area on the field, from coaching to offense to defense to the kicking game, and that's what we'll do.
There was a lot of talk after last season about bridging the gap between you guys and the others in the division. Are you worried at all about what a loss like this could do, big picture and long term? Yeah, no, I'm focused on trying to improve, and there's a lot to improve on. So, it's one game. It wasn't a good game. Don't sugarcoat it. It was a bad game, and that's on me. And we'll work to get the things we need to get fixed, which is certainly plenty of things.
What was your message to them? Have to lose
just that. Yeah, just that.
Do you think any changes need to be made on the offensive line?
Yeah, look, we just got skunked here 40-0. So there's when you play a game like that and coach a game like that, there's nothing that's good enough. And our job is to go back and look at it with a critical eye, just like we would do in any game. But 40-0 is not a good score, obviously. So a lot to work on, and that's what we'll do.
Is there anything you can take away from Daniel's play tonight?
Yeah, I just say in every area we weren't good enough, and I'll take that.
Did you have any issues with the effort in the second half? You seemed like they came out kind of flat.
No, I mean they went down and drove right down the field. But those guys, look, those guys are competitors. Obviously the result didn't show tonight, but no, that's not us. That's not us just to insinuate that someone's not giving effort. Everybody gives balls out effort. We just didn't do a good enough job executing. But I don't question that. Not ever.
Did he catch you by surprise? How basically all the operations on all 3 sides kind of failed?
Yeah, look, I'd say it again, Pat. Wasn't good enough in any area. So a lot to work on, and that's what we'll do.
How did Darren come through the game? I mean, he kind of was out before everybody else. Was that just precaution? Or
he made it through. He made it through, yeah. I think the only thing I got coming in here was Banks had cramps, in both.
Honestly, kind of was slipping off a bunch.
He fought it through. I think he had a little bit of a hammy going in there. I gotta go find out what exactly it was, but he was, he was fighting through. Again, look, there's no excuses on anything. When you lose 40-0, nothing's good enough, and I'll own that.
Okay. It sounded like
I think he is, but I haven't checked with those guys just yet.
Right, a loss like this can be kind of deflating. How do you keep the guys from getting too down over a loss like this?
Well, this league is humbling. It's a humbling league. I've said this many a times. It's the same thing as if you have a big win, not getting too high. This is an emotional game. Guys put everything they have into it. They prepared well. We practiced well. And we didn't put it together today, you know, in every area from, like I said, offense, defense, coaching, special teams, whatever, you name it. When you get 40-0, there's a lot of blame to go around, and I'll take the head of it.
You said looking at things with a critical eye.
Yeah.
Would you reevaluate your processes?
Well, you do that every
how
week,
you got
Pat.
to this,
That's
or?
what you do as a head coach. You evaluate processes every week, whether you have 5 wins in a row, get blown out 40-0, have an off season. Every day after every game, you sit down and you evaluate processes. That's what you do as a coaching staff. You know, it's been like that ever since I've been in coaching.
What is it about Dallas that's kind of giving you guys issues this last year and a half or last year?
Last year, I'm not worried about. This year, I mean, we had issues with every area we could have issues with tonight.
You guys got kind of booed as you were going off the field there at the end of the first half?
Yeah, I mean, we weren't playing well.
Take a couple more.
In the first quarter, you had to burn 2 timeouts for the substitution problems. I mean, how concerning was just the field goal operation?
Yeah, like I said before, everything wasn't good enough from the get-go. That's why you get beat 40-0. That's my responsibility.
Did that surprise you that it didn't work like that? Because it is your second year. There were a decent number of players coming back. It was like this was all brand new with new players and stuff.
In what regard?
Did it surprise you that you had some of those operational issues, some of the hiccups?
Yeah, there was one miscommunication, you know, on the offensive side, and then they ran people out, we ran people out, didn't get out in time, so, you know, took a timeout. So you never want those, you know, and that's on our end. So those are, you know, the multitude of things that we got to clean up.
They do anything with their pass rusher, Michael Parsons, that kind of...
Yeah, they had him inside, I mean...
Not surprised a little bit?
They had him inside, they had him outside.
Do that?
They put them everywhere, but you know, they did a good job. You know, give them credit. We didn't, and that's really what it is.
Okay. All right, Dave.
All right, guys.
That sound from head coach Brian Daboll is brought to you by your local Ford stores. Ford is proud to be the official truck of the New York Giants. We'll break down what we heard from the head coach after the break, but first, Giants fans, check out the Coach Daboll Show presented by Ford. We'll look back on today's game and take a look ahead at next week's matchup. It's the Coach Daboll Show, airing every week on MSG and the Giants YouTube channel. We'll be back with more after this. Run or walk with Giants legends. The Giants Foundation will host a 5K race and kids run presented by Quest on Sunday, October 8th at 9 a.m. at MetLife Stadium. Net proceeds will benefit the Giants Foundation. Register now at giants.com/5K. Welcome back to Giants Postgame Live, presented by Moderna. Madelyn, Burke, Shaun, and Victor Cruz breaking down a tough loss in Week 1 as the Giants fall to the Cowboys 40-0 on Sunday Night Football. Before the break, we heard from head coach Brian Daboll, who says, you know, he doesn't question effort, just says we got beat all the way around. No excuses. Credit to Dallas. You know, as a player, when you hear the head coach addressing it that way, what's your reaction?
I think it just confirms what I saw out there on the field as a player and even as a fan or a spectator. It's just like at every aspect of the game, they outplayed us and they beat us and they out-executed us. And the 40-0 score indicates that. And I think that's what Coach Daboll is talking about. You got the fumble here, the bot snap to go to the block field goal for a touchdown. And then from there, it felt like it just started to unravel. You thought they'd come back with another drive. You see the turnover right there by Saquon Barkley on the obviously the hit with the tip ball interception, the other interception, and missed field goal, which is so rare. It's just so many things that were going wrong for us that you're just like, okay, a missed field goal, we can come back from that. You know, an interception, we can come back from all those things. But when they start to compound and when they started to trickle through the rest of the team, and then you start to see, you know, Daniel Jones getting quarterback pressured, a bunch, sacks, 7 sacks on the night. It just started to snowball, and I think that's what he's talking about, how every facet of the game they needed to be better, and they didn't today.
Yeah, this game just completely unraveled for the Giants, and Coach Daboll mentioned it, like we just couldn't string anything together. As soon as one good thing happened, 2 bad things happened to counteract that. And I think for the Giants, when you look at this game, this matchup, like you could probably stomach, hey, look, we fought to the end, lose the game at the end on a game-winning drive or a last-second field goal, but to beat yourself, it makes it even harder to take as a player and as a coach, because this is not the Giants team that we saw in training camp, that we saw in practice and preseason. This is not who we thought was going to show up. And look, it was sloppy out there. It was pouring rain. I mean, it was nasty conditions, but it didn't seem to affect Dallas as much as it did the Giants. And I think that the sloppy play, the unforced errors, the mistakes, and you can't beat yourself in the NFL. Like, you can't spot another team 14
The
points.
game's hard enough as it is.
Yeah, it is. And to do that, the Giants aren't there yet. They're not there yet where they can overcome those mistakes. And so you almost wonder, too, like, all right, once you're down, now everything kind of changes. And the pressure changed. Now all of a sudden you kind of have to throw the ball a little more than you wanted to. The pressures were absolutely an issue. Think about this. Daniel Jones threw 28 passes. He was sacked on 7 of them and hit 12 more times. That's 19 times he was hit on 28 passes. That's more than – so basically every other pass play he was getting hit. And the ones that he didn't get hit was because he ran away from the rush. So that's first and foremost. You've got to protect the football. You've got to protect the quarterback. That's what this game's all about.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of question marks and changes at the guard positions in the offensive line as they continue to work through that, as they continue to work on protecting the quarterback and getting the protection on a wet and rainy night.
It's coming back down again right now. Why not?
Sideways right
Let's go, Satan.
It is raining indeed. Daniel Jones had a tough night tonight. After the break, we'll hear from the quarterback on Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Moderna. Stay with us. More after the break. A beautiful national anthem before tonight's Sunday night football season opener here at MetLife Stadium. Queen Latifah with a special 9/11 tribute. That was a magical moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was great to watch. It was especially when you went out there. I happened to be on the field during that, so you get to see it in all its glory and the energy of it. It was a great moment.
Yeah.
Best moment of the night.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. A lot of stuff that was going on between the lines wasn't as good as the national anthem.
The flag, though, the flag between the lines and, the rain coming down, it was a beautiful moment and a great tribute, especially with 9/11 tomorrow here in New York City. Again, though, you mentioned it was a tough loss for this Giants football team, 40-0 falling to the Dallas Cowboys. Daniel Jones running for his life all night, sacked 7 times. Let's hear from the quarterback as he addresses the media.
Daniel, what's the level of shock, frustration when you walk off the field 40-0 in a game like that?
Yeah, it's high. It's high. We're certainly frustrated and extremely disappointed with how we performed tonight, and I know I certainly am with myself. So a lot to work on and clean up. We're going to be critical of ourselves and look to correct it and get back on the right page.
You guys seem to have a lot of confidence coming into this game. What went wrong?
Just didn't execute. We didn't execute. We dug a hole for ourselves early on, and our execution was poor throughout the game. I gotta make better decisions and put us in situations where we can be successful.
Daniel, what was the basic message from Daboll in the locker room after a game like this?
I think, for one, we got to own it. We got to, own what happened out there. We didn't play well enough, didn't execute well enough, didn't give ourselves a chance to win the game, and we got to own that, and then we got to attack the process this week of correcting it, of being critical and finding what we got to work on and making sure we're prepared and doesn't happen again. So we got to own it and move on.
Daniel, how do you bounce back from a demoralizing loss like this?
We're going to watch the film, we're going to study it, we're going to be critical and correct it, move on.
Is it hard to break down where, for you in particular, where things went wrong when you never really, a lot of times you really had a chance to even get into the play for it to go wrong?
I think there's plenty of situations where where I didn't make a good decision, didn't make an accurate throw, didn't make the right read, and I'm going to be very critical of myself in those situations and look to correct that going forward.
Daniel, on the Diggs interception, were you trying to throw that ball away? Well, when you were rolling to your right, and you were trying to...
Diggs interception was...
Oh, I'm sorry, my mistake, Daniel. The Gilman interception?
Yeah, it was just a poor decision in a situation where I was, trying to force something that wasn't there and needed to throw the ball out of bounds and move on to the next play.
Daniel, how much do you think things snowballed after that blocked field goal to a touchdown? Because it looked like on the first drive he had a lot of momentum, and then it was the self-inflicted wounds, and everything went downhill after that.
Yeah, I mean, we dug a hole for ourselves early on, and then, but it's about, getting back on the right page, executing, finding a way to break through, make some plays, and get it going back in the right direction. We didn't do that when we needed to, so, we gotta be better, gotta be able to bounce back and right the ship.
Were you lobbying the coaches at the end to stay in the game? I don't know if there was any conversation about taking you out.
No, I mean, I wanted to stay in, and there wasn't any conversation about that.
Does it make it harder to run your offense the way you guys want to when you get down 16? I don't think Dallas is kind of able to put their ears back and really have to. Does it just get hard in that situation to really run things the way you want?
Yeah, it can certainly get harder when you dig yourself a hole like that to start. Not a situation you want to be in, but we had plenty of time to dig ourselves out and to execute. We got to do that going forward. So we're going to figure it out. We're going to watch the tape and correct those things and make sure we're ready to go.
You talked a lot about closing the gap in the division. Obviously, this game was very lopsided. The last game you played against the Eagles was lopsided. How do you make the case that you have done that and gotten in better position in the division?
This wasn't our best game. There's no doubt about it. This wasn't who we're capable of being, and we've got to show that. We've got to put that on the field and play that way. So we didn't do that tonight. And we have a lot to work on going forward.
That sound from Daniel Jones brought to you by your local Ford stores. Ford is proud to be the official truck of the New York Giants. As we take a look at Daniel Jones's stats tonight against the Cowboys, 15 of 28 for 104 yards passing, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions, ran for 13 attempts for 43 yards as well. Daniel Jones last season just had 5 interceptions on the year, 2 tonight in week 1. He said, you know what, this wasn't who we're capable of being. Shaun, how does this team and this quarterback bounce back from a game like this?
Well, first of all, they got to block some people, and that's, paramount, and it's really up to the guys up front. And, it's tough. We sit here and we criticize the quarterback for their play, and we say they got to do better. And you know what? The reality of it is every time he put his back foot in the ground, he had to step up in the pocket, dodge a defender. So I thought he was courageous in his effort. You mentioned the interceptions. He had 1 game last year with 2 interceptions. This game, he's getting credit for 2. One of them wasn't his fault. He throws the ball to Saquon Barkley. It gets popped up. The other one was a bad decision. It was tough. I think for Daniel Jones, he's probably trying to press at some point. But this game felt a lot like the Week 11 game against the Eagles last year when the Giants were looking good. Everybody's feeling good. They came in here against Philly, found themselves down early, 21-0 early. This game, down 16-0 in the first quarter. That's not the way the Giants are built right now. They're not built to come back from that and all of a sudden be a pass-heavy team. They need that balance. They need to have the run play action. They need to have that balance offensively in order to stay in these games. And for Daniel, I think he's probably frustrated because a lot of the times where he was avoiding the rush, there were guys open. There's nothing more frustrating than coming back to the huddle, Vic, and you're like, man, I was wide open. That we could have had a big play, could have had a touchdown, but he didn't have time. Didn't have time for those plays to develop. So those are the things you're going to go back and look at in the film and say, hey, guys, look, we got to hold up because look at who's open. Look at how many guys are running free. Jalen Hyatt had 1 target tonight and 0 catches. Those kind of guys look, you have to give them time to develop.
Yeah.
And I know it's frustrating for everybody, not just DJ.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. I think it's time for the leaders. I think this is one of those games where the leaders of the football team kind of take control and say, hey, guys, we can't sulk in this one. We got to be able to pick ourselves up and move on to the next game. But we'll see how Daniel Jones, being one of the leaders on this team, does that, either through his voice or through his play or how he approaches this week. But it's one of those veteran leadership type weeks moving forward.
Absolutely. We've got more sound and reaction from the locker room after the break. Giants Postgame Live, presented by Moderna, continues after the break. And make sure stay up to date with the latest COVID-19 vaccines, because you've got no time for 19. Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Moderna, rolls on after a tough loss in Week 1 here at MetLife Stadium. We'll be right back.
I mean, like I said, it's just knowing our teammates, knowing you know, the guys left and right of us. I think we know who we are, and you know, what we did today was just not who we are. And you know, we came out and you know, had too many turnovers, gave up too much in the run game. Just all around, wasn't the greatest performance. And you know, we're gonna have to do a good job of fixing that this week.
Does that opening block field goal change anything? I mean, because it seemed like you guys were running right down the field, and they score, and you know, suddenly it's 9-0, and then the interception 16-0, and.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like you know, we were coming off to a start fast. You know, offense was rolling, moving down the field. We had penalties, which was another thing that we had to clean up. The penalties kind of moved us back, had to make us kick a field goal, and then that block field goal was a big momentum shift for them. And, you know, it could have been a swing in the game, but at the same time, that's very early on. And we shouldn't let something, you know, on the first drive affect the rest of the game. And, you know, that's on us to turn it around.
That sound from Leonard Williams, brought to you by Ford Stores. Ford is proud to be the official truck of the New York Giants. Shaun, when you listen to what Leonard Williams said, one of the things that he pointed out, too, of course, is the penalties. 6 penalties for 72 yards on the night.
Yeah, that's not good. I mean, it's sloppy football, par for the course. We saw a lot of sloppy football tonight. The thing that was disappointing for me watching this Giants defense was coming to this game, they needed to get pressure on Dak Prescott, and they didn't do it. They had 3 quarterback hits the entire night, not one sack, and not at any point did you look at the Cowboys offense and say, oh boy, they're affecting Dak Prescott. They're getting to him. He threw 15 interceptions last year. You pressure him, he's going to cough the ball up, and the Giants could not get home. They couldn't impact Dak Prescott. You know, it's something that, you know, look, they're going to correct it. They've got the talent to do it. Now they just got to go out and they've got to perform. They've got to execute. That's what this game is all about. It's about execution.
Yeah.
And I think it's not just for Leonard Williams. You know, Dexter had a couple of quarterback hits. We need more from Kayvon Thibodeau. And, you know, I think all together they need to find a way to get more pressure on the quarterback. Especially
with 2 of the Cowboys offensive linemen coming into tonight's game banged up. But we also heard from a member of the Giants offense, tight end Darren Waller, speaking in the locker room. Let's take a listen.
I feel like in this league, being in it so long, it's more so about how you respond to things more so than what happens to you, what happens on the field. Because you could be on the other side of that win and come into the week and have your head in the clouds, and then go into the next game feeling yourself too much, and you get brought back down to earth. So it's all about how you respond. And I tell guys, you know, I've been on the losing end of games like this before, and you know, it's how you come in and, you know, is your head high? Are you picking guys up? Are you making sure you're not pointing the finger at other people, owning your part, taking personal accountability? That's how you move forward.
And last one for me. Obviously, it's your first game with the new team. We talked about how the hamstring felt. But how did you feel in the system, in the offense, just generally speaking?
I feel like there were some good things out there, some looks that were there early in the game. Some pressure kind of negated those. And then some things got rolling towards the end of the first half that I feel like, you know, could be built upon. But yeah, I mean, there's positive and negative to be taken from this, but we still continue on this journey.
Darren, staggering. The hamstring, did it really concern you, later in the week?
Yeah, I mean, I had some what is it going to look like on Sunday? But the team would work with me, and I was able to go out there and do all the snaps that they asked me to do and not have it really affect me.
Were you ever in doubt? Did it bother you at all in the game?
Nah, not really. There was some running really deep down the field where, you know, it might nip a little bit, but as far as everything that I was asked of me, I was able to do it just fine.
That sound from Darren Waller, brought to you by Ford, as we take a look at his stats tonight against the Cowboys. 3 receptions on 5 targets, 36 yards, a 22-yard long. Victor Cruz, what do you make of Darren Waller's debut here in blue?
Well, it's a tough start for him, obviously, just 5 targets, but he's going to have to be our workhorse. I think he's going to be a guy that this offense is going to depend on in terms of being our playmaker and being that safety valve for Daniel Jones, being that guy that we look to make big plays. So it'll be interesting to see how we kind of unfold and how that relationship starts to blossom over the couple weeks here, the first month of the season. But just holistically as a team, you know, this team hasn't found their identity yet. I think there's some new players on this team. There's a new energy. There's new receivers on this football team. Jalen Hyatt's a young rookie that's a stud, obviously. But this team still doesn't know who they are just yet. And I think a loss like this kind of fast-tracks that, trying to figure out who we are, and the coaching staff trying to figure out what type of team they're going to be. But I just think that this type of loss, this type of game, just sets you back a little bit as a receiver, as everyone on this football team, because you're still trying to figure out who we are, and you want to put something good out there, not just for your teammates, but something good on film, something for the coaches to actually coach. This might be a game you flush just because it's week 1 and you're like, this was so bad, we may not learn anything from this. Or maybe there's always something to learn from these games, but when it's this bad, sometimes you want to flush them and get a clean slate going into next week.
I'm down for the flush.
Right, yeah, down for the
those.
swirly indeed. And you know, sometimes coaches will say you learn more from a loss than you do from a win.
Yeah.
We'll see how much this team learns as they look forward to week 2. But we've got more reflection on week 1 after the break. We're going to hear from Giants running back Saquon Barkley. That and more as Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Moderna, continues after this. Stay with us.
It sucks. We got skunked in the National Football League against Dallas, at home. But I don't think that takes away anything from what we did in training camp. I feel like we had a great week of practice. We came out and just didn't execute and then play to a level where we could play to.
That first drive, 60 yards downfield, everything seems to be working right. Then they get the block field goal and everything seemed to snowball from there. How difficult is it to stem the tide when the momentum starts going like it did?
Well, that's football. We got to do a better job, starting with myself and the leaders, of stop the leak and stop the bleeding. And we didn't do that. You can't go down like that to a team of that caliber. Just gotta go, watch film, learn from it, and get ready for Arizona.
They've always been a fast defense. They seemed even faster tonight than maybe they were in other times you played them.
We just didn't execute, but gotta get credit where credit's due. Dallas is a great team. A lot of talent over there, and they made more plays than us, obviously, today.
Saquon, your rookies kind of had a tough, everybody had a tough night tonight, but what's your message as a leader here to the rookies that had, had a tough go tonight, John with the snap and Jalen drop his first pass and things like that? What's your message for those guys to take out tonight?
It's the National Football League. The sad thing about it, we're 0-1. Everyone's going to go out there and say whatever they want to say about us, but we still got 16 games guaranteed. And we got one guaranteed game next week against Arizona, so move on.
Asking more about your message to the rookies, just kind of how they kind of.
Simply as that. It's a National Football League. You got to move on. The train gonna keep them moving. Hop on. Talented. Like I told them all before. You prepared for this moment your whole life, and nothing new. And you're gonna have bad games. You're gonna have bad plays in the NFL. It happens to all of us. And you go through any locker room, any person that's been in the league long enough. Everyone had a bad play, so continue to move on, learn from it, and grow. I think we had it against the right coverage. Diggs made a great play, and I got to do a better job of holding the ball.
That sound from Saquon Barkley, brought to you by your local Ford stores. Ford is proud to be the official truck of the New York Giants. Taking a look at Saquon's numbers from the night. He had a couple tough plays. He mentioned got to do a better job of holding onto the ball after that Diggs play.
Yeah, for sure. And it's one of those bang plays. Obviously, he's catching the ball. He's about to tuck it, and he gets hit right on his forearm, right when he's trying to put the ball away. So that's a tough break on Saquon's part. But I just think everyone, there's no one person to blame. There's no one person to kind of focus on. There's no one play that's like, that's a defining moment. It was all of it. It was every moment that there was a play that they can get back and they can like, okay, let's flush that. Let's kind of put our best foot forward. Let's put a drive together. Let's put some good things out there for us to be excited about, for this fan base to be excited about.
And like Saquon said, there's more guaranteed games starting with next week as well.
Exactly. It's just one game at the end of the day, which is probably the only silver lining in all of this.
They got to come correct and quick and fix it quick, because they play 3 games in 11 days at Arizona, then at San Fran. So they've all got to find a way to fix this.
And as we know, it doesn't get any easier.
Yeah, but they just got run off of the table. You know, like when you're playing video games with your friends, you get skunked. You lose 40-0. You're not getting back on the sticks for a while.
You gotta wait your turn again.
Gotta wait your turn. All right, we got more show coming your way. We're closing it out here on Giants Postgame Live, but make sure Giants fans subscribe to Giants text alerts for breaking news, ticket offers, game day updates, and more. Scan the QR code or text 201-636-1569 to subscribe. We'll be back with more after this. 3 quarterbacks responsible for all 4 Giants Super Bowl trophies. Jeff Hostetler brought these quarterbacks together for QB United, a suicide prevention and awareness program. Phil Simms, Eli Manning, and Jeff Hostetler as the Giants donate to the special program right here. What a moment here on Sunday Night Football on the field at MetLife Stadium, as they bring back the Super Bowl champion trophy-winning quarterbacks.
The only quarterbacks didn't get hit tonight.
I love Eli double patched up. He had the double Super Bowl patches. That looked good.
2 patches.
How about Allison Stangaby there? That was a good face.
Shout out to Allie, right?
Allison's a legend.
I can't remember last time I saw Hostetler here at MetLife. That's great.
It was a great moment.
Incredible.
Exactly. And bringing them all together. Listen, tonight was a tough one, but let's turn the page, as we would love to do. 40-0 loss tonight, but we have got a game next week, Sunday, September 17th. 4:05 p.m. in Arizona. Giants taking on the Cardinals. Shaun, they had a good one today against Washington.
Yeah, I mean, they gave him a scare. You know, I think when you look at no Kyler Murray, for, you know, Josh Dobbs stepped in at quarterback. He's a mobile quarterback. You know, Giants, listen, for the Giants, it's not about the Arizona Cardinals. It's not about the opponent. They need to get better. They need to do a better job protecting the football, protecting the quarterback. I'm sure this will be a very big game for Isaiah Simmons.
Yeah, I agree. And I think this is one of those games where we get to find out a little bit about this 2023-24 New York Giants football team, who they are, how they respond after this loss. And we'll see very, very quickly. I think that first or second drive coming into that game next week will determine, we'll see this team and how they are.
This team bounce back. And we will be here after every game right here on Giants Postgame Live from Madelyn, Burke, Shaun O'Hara, Victor Cruz. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week, friends.